out of the tub, and swimming is impossible. But thanks to the Gore-Tex company, a unique cast is allowing patients to get rid of the plaster mold and head for the water. First at 5's Stephany Brinson takes a closer look.
Breaking a bone is a painful experience, and wearing a heavy cast for months afterwards isn't much better. But an innovative lining from the makers of Gore-Tex is allowing water to evaporate off the skin. The lining goes under the fiberglass cast and allows the wearer to submerge their cast in water. The Gore-Tex cast is made so that it can go directly under the water, but fracture physicians say that it's important to let the cast dry out. They say you could be left with skin irritations, possibly blisters.
When you're putting even a child in fiberglass casting material, they have to have time to dry things off. They just can't spend the whole day in the water. And I do recall another situation where a young boy did that, spent a lot of time in the pool, and on the first day he wore right through his cast because it was so wet, so we had to change it. So that's another consideration as well. You have to allow time for drying.
Doctors say the cast is ideal for stable fractures and for patients who understand the special requirements of their cast. But the lining is not used in most emergency situations.
Frequently in emergency rooms we will be using plaster or some really well molded fiberglass without any of the Gore-Tex liner. It's just not appropriate. I think the best indications is maybe the last 2 to 3 or 4 weeks of casting when the fracture is already solidified and you want to take a chance with a compliant patient.
The lining is expensive, and it isn't as durable as plaster. Orvald says most insurance companies aren't covering its use yet since it is so new. Orvald isn't sure if this is the future of cast work. It's too soon to tell. But he does know that patients who wear the casts enjoy the freedom that it gives them. Reporting in Yakima, I'm Stephany Brinson for KNDO News 23.
Doctors say the new lining isn't for everyone. They usually take the person's injury and that person's lifestyles into consideration before applying it. The American Lung Association is leading a campaign to eliminate indoor air pollution. The association fears that because Americans spend about 90% of their time indoors, that they're suffering the ill effects of carbon monoxide poisoning, which for some people can lead to death. Officials say that the poison is released by many home appliances.
Anything that burns for its energy source is a combustion appliance. And those, if they're not vented properly and not installed correctly, can have a dangerous buildup of carbon monoxide.
CAPS warns that for people with allergies and lung disease, it is especially important to watch for the warning signs.
You need to know that if you have headaches, if you have increase in dizziness, you are nauseated or nauseous, especially if people in the building with you are experiencing those same symptoms. You can rule out, an influenza virus or something.
CAP says your family doctor can monitor carbon monoxide levels in your blood. A group of middle school students is spending the summer giving something back to the community, and by helping others, organizers say they're helping themselves. In this week's The More You Know, First at 5's McCluskey has their story.
Doctors say the lining certainly isn't for everyone. They take the person's injury and their lifestyle into consideration before applying it. The American Lung Association is leading a campaign to eliminate indoor air pollution. The association fears that because Americans spend about 90% of their time indoors, that they're suffering the ill effects of carbon monoxide poisoning, which for some people can lead to death. Officials say the poison is released by many home appliances.
Anything that burns for its energy source is a combustion appliance. And those, if they're not vented properly and not installed correctly, can have a dangerous buildup of carbon monoxide.
CAPS warns that for people with allergies and lung disease, it's especially important to watch for the warning signs. CAPS says your family doctor can monitor carbon monoxide levels in your blood. A group of middle school students is spending some of their summertime giving back to the community, and by helping others, organizers say that they're helping themselves. In this week's The More You Know, News 23's Heather McCluskey has their story.
Dusting and vacuuming may seem more like summertime chores than fun, especially if you're in middle school. But these teens are learning more than just how to clean house. They're part of Project 3x3, which involves Yakima School District staff, students, and parents in community service. They're cleaning the Madison Youth Gospel Mission, a safe haven for neighborhood kids. By working on such projects, organizers say that teens learn important life lessons.
Responsibility is something that kids learn by actually doing. You can talk and talk as an adult to them, but unless they really get out and put it into practice, it's the most simplest way for them to understand.
The students involved in the project admit they were hesitant at first about all the hard work, but now understand the importance of what they're doing.
I have a lot of cousins that live around in this community, and you know, they come here once in a while, so it makes a difference that they're going to come here and it's going to be nice.
Best of all, when the hard work is done, students like Frankisha know they've done their part to make the community better for everyone. In Yakima, I'm Heather McCluskey for KNDO News 23.
Project 3x3 also has students donating time at a nursing home, the Humane Society, and working on a mural project. Well, Ross Parrish is certainly
recapping our lead story for you. Prosser horsewoman Gladys Tarnowski is under arrest again. Today, the Benton County Sheriff's Department went to her ranch. They took 121 horses, 1 goat, 2 cats, 5 kittens. So far, 2 of the horses have been put to sleep. 1 of the cats and possibly another one of the horses will be put to sleep before it is all over. This is the second time she has been arrested for animal neglect and cruelty. Mark, what's going on at 11?
Lots of things going on tonight. We'll show you how some local teenagers are learning about trust and getting over their fears. A group of Yakima's at-risk students are spending the day in the Tri-Cities, working hand in hand on building trust. The unique program focuses on teamwork and responsibility, as well as taking those first steps towards conquering their fears. We'll have this story and more tonight at 11.
Agriculture is a big part of our area's
You're watching KNDO Channel 23 Yakima, and this is KNDO News 23 Late Edition.
Heavy rains and gusty winds make their way through the valley tonight, and in case you missed them, yes, lots of lightning. Good evening, I'm Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us on the Late Edition. Meteorologist Michael Point will be here in just a few minutes. He'll let us know what's going to happen for our weather forecast. But first, horse rancher Gladys Tarnowski of Prosser is under arrest again for animal cruelty. The Benton County Sheriff's Department reports they went to the Gem Meadows Ranch early this morning and took 121 horses, 1 goat, 2 cats, and 5 kittens. The scene was much the same as it was last April. The animals appeared malnourished and lacked hoof care. Some may be blind and have other physical problems. The sheriff reports that the ranch is also lacking in food and water. 2 horses, 1 cat will be destroyed, and 1 other horse may have to be put to sleep. This is the second time Tarnowski has been arrested for animal cruelty. In December, she was sentenced to 25 days in jail and fined $1,000. Before the heavy rains this evening, firefighters battled a range fire just outside of Granger near Plank and Tooley Road. What you're looking at right now are the billows of smoke seen just outside of Sunnyside. The gusty winds made the blaze all the more dangerous, burning more than 80 acres this evening. Chelan crews are cleaning up after a large grassland and brush fire in that area. The fire, located just a few miles east of the Columbia River, was reported around 4 this afternoon. Luckily, no structures were threatened and no farmland was burned. We have an update on the E. coli contamination in Ellensburg. The Kittitas County Health Department confirms 4 more cases. This brings the number of people infected by the bacteria to 9. Health officials say they've isolated the incident and there's no secondary spread. The outbreak occurred at a church potluck last weekend. A Washington State group says Hispanics are underrepresented in state school boards, and they want to do something about it. The Washington State Commission on Hispanic Affairs claims that low high school graduation rates for Hispanic students won't change until there's more involvement from the community. Of 1,500 school board members in the state, only 11 are Hispanic. In Sunnyside, Hispanic students make up 66% of the enrollment, and there's 1 Hispanic member on the board. Superintendent Mac Chambers says it's important the Hispanic community know how important participation is.
I think a lot of times the Hispanic population feels real uncomfortable in getting involved in schools. There's a bit of a cultural thing where they feel that they don't have as much to contribute.
Chambers says the district is encouraging involvement of Hispanic parents by reaching them through the conferences and, of course, meeting with teachers. Here in Yakima, a Hispanic school board member explains why he thinks the numbers are so low. Ed Esparza says that in our area, economics prevent many Hispanics from running for school boards.
We have high numbers of people that live in poverty areas, and in order for them to participate in that particular process, they have to give up a lot of their time, a lot of their resources to make that commitment.
Esparza has decided to run again for the Yakima School Board after some debate. He says one reason he'll seek re-election is so that Hispanics will have representation in the educational system. Responding to a growing need in the community, Yakima Valley Community College officially opened an expanded Sunnyside Learning Center today. YVCC President Phil Tuller turned out for the event and stressed the importance of the facility.
If you would pick up from the fact that we're opening this center, this underscores our continuing support for the Lower Valley. Yakima Valley Community College is a community college that has many locations.
The center will serve an estimated 300 adult students each year. They'll have the opportunity to earn GEDs as well as take basic education and parenting classes. Lewis Campbell, who will direct the center, and looks forward to providing educational opportunities there.
Challenge of providing a service that isn't available here in Sunnyside.
Campbell anticipates continued growth. Last year, the center graduated 13 students. This year, that number had doubled to 30. How can you teach children to trust, or in order to have trust and good self-esteem? A local program for young people has at least one method that works. It's not a classroom, but more of an outdoor adventure of sorts. Some Yakima teens had a chance today to see just how important trust can be. Dave Grumme has our story.
They came to Columbia Park to work through a challenging obstacle course designed to teach self-esteem. At-risk students from Yakima worked through the steps of the program to accomplish a common goal: how to trust others.
In the world, there's a lot of issues that the kids have to deal with. They don't know as far as if they can trust a lot of people, and when they come out here, they get to see that the adults as well as their peers are, that they can trust them.
The teams worked through various activities which led to a high-rise obstacle course. Program leaders say it teaches a valuable lesson in trust and supporting each other.
It gives them the opportunity to come together and work as a team. They build self-confidence. They interact with one another. They learn team spirit. They learn also how to support themselves along with their fellow students.
The course can be terrifying, but it is a unique learning experience they will never forget. In Kennewick, Dave Grumme, KNDO News 23.
Students aren't the only ones benefiting from the program. Police officers, engineers, and even corporate business people have used the rope course. Drafting a plan for a countywide...
Nobody gives you more local news than we do. First at 5.
There is more accessibility to things that create unsafe situations in the workplace or in the school place.
Local schools try to reassure parents about classroom safety.
But caution that what happened in Moses Lake can happen anywhere. Good evening, I'm Dave Ettl.
And I'm Heather Hayes. Thanks for joining us tonight on First at 5. A 14-year-old is accused of walking into Frontier Junior High School on Friday around 2 in the afternoon, shooting 4 people, killing 3 of them. 1 teacher, 2 students, and a 4th student is currently in serious condition in Seattle. Well, today in Grant County Superior Court, Barry Lukatis made his first appearance. Now, the attorneys are discussing bail. They're also talking about the possibility of this needing to be tried.
Age 21,
in
they
an
lose
adult
jurisdiction.
court.
He walks out the door. He's not under probation. He served a total of roughly 6 years for murdering 3 people and trying to murder a 4th and traumatizing a room full of school children. That's just woefully inadequate in my view.
Again, this was the first appearance then today for Barry Lukatis, who is accused of shooting 3 people on Friday.
Well, now in just a few minutes, we will hear how the shooting is making local officials re-examine the safety and security in and around Yakima schools. But first, we bring you the latest in Moses Lake, where classes resume today.
But it was crying and everything, and in 5th period it was really hard because that's when the shooting happened, was in 5th period. So it's hard.
Dozens of counselors were on hand to help heal the loss of a teacher and 2 students. Some found strength in prayer.
That's what helps us through, I think, is our religious background, knowing that these things can happen.
I'm kind of worried, but I know it'll be a safer place, and
was before.
Friday, a 14-year-old student was marked absent for school, but by fifth period, he was in his own algebra class, armed with 2 guns, a rifle, and 78 rounds of ammunition. He left 3 people dead and 1 seriously wounded. Over the weekend, the family of Arnold Fritz, one of the victims, had already forgiven the suspect.
We just want to send our prayers to the boy and his family.
That was April Wilson, a King 5 reporter, reporting from Moses Lake today.
Well, what happened on Friday is it's a student's worst nightmare. It's a teacher's worst nightmare. It's very frightening.
No kidding. And that obviously raises the question, is this something that could happen here? And if so, what steps are being taken to avoid it? First at 5's Greg Nieto joins us now from the newsroom with the latest.
Dave, Heather, you know, it's something that they are trying to avoid here locally with the local schools, middle schools, elementary, high schools. And the one goal is to try to make schools a safe place to be.
Washington Middle School says it already has a plan in place that would hopefully eliminate any shootings in the classroom, but also says parents always have the right to be concerned.
That is realistic to be apprehensive. Secondly, if a parent still feels very anxious and concerned, they should contact their school.
Limo says Washington School's safety plan and drill educates both students and teachers what to do in case of an emergency. She says students practice these drills 2 to 3 times a year and are shown videotapes of exactly what to do. In addition to their training, teachers are not only trained, but also equipped with two-way radios or cellular phones to quickly identify any potential hazardous situation. Lemo says what happened Friday in Moses Lake could happen anywhere.
Now, Ostrander says that kids feeling overwhelmed is another sign that they should talk about whatever's bothering them.
Got to get it out. You're absolutely right. Well, now the question arises, what happens for Barry Lukatis, who's accused of the shootings? Will he be tried as an adult or a juvenile? Yakima County Juvenile Prosecuting Attorney Joe Brusick says there are about 8 different factors determining how a person is tried. Brusick says such things as the nature of the events, whether or not the crime was committed against property or person, all factor into making a decision. If Lukatis is tried as a juvenile, he could face up to time in a juvenile facility until he turns 21. If he's tried as an adult, he could face life in prison without parole.
Another thing on everybody's mind today, the weather. And the city of Yakima is learning firsthand just how tough old man winter can be.
Costing some bucks, too.
Yes.
The city is spending nearly $15,000 to repair broken water pipes at the new Public Works building. First at 5, Steve Clatterbuck joins us from the newsroom to tell us a little bit more about the damage.
That's right, Heather. Dave, the Public Works building becomes another victim of old man winter, and it kept a lot of workers busy this weekend.
Plumbers have been working nonstop since Friday, replacing broken ceiling water pipes. The problem first surfaced last Wednesday morning when city employees went to this break room sink to make some coffee, but there was no hot water because the pipes were frozen solid. But that was just the beginning. By Friday, as the building heated up in the morning, other pipes began to break, resulting in flooding and a lot of damage.
Here we have a lot of equipment that got wet, and a lot of furniture that got wet, and a lot of records that got wet. So we just need to get everything put back together, get the plumbing put back together so that we can totally get back in business again.
This is not the first time this 2-year-old building has had problems with its pipes. Just a year ago, the sewer system backed up because of construction mistakes. According to City Manager Dick Zase, there will be an investigation into the recent problems.
We have to look and see if this is something that is a natural damage, cause and effect because of the extreme weather conditions, or is it something that should have been properly taken care of in the original design and construction of the building.
Neither the architectural company that designed the building, Trejo Inc., or the company that built it, Moen Construction, would comment today. The project managers for both say they'll wait until the city's investigation is completed.
And there's still no timeline on when that investigation will be complete. We'll let you know when we have it. And also, the Public Works building wasn't the only city-owned facility to suffer some damage. The new police station also has a little bit of flooding.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what they're saying, too. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
When's this weather going to change? We'll check in with Chris Kennedy here in just a bit for the latest on that. Rising temperatures increase the risk of flooding along the Yakima River. Near Richland, ice jams teamed with an increasing flow of water from melting snow, all combining to cause river levels to rise. The first-degree murder when he was captured. He was caught yesterday morning in Wapato, hiding in a house, and he was armed with a rifle. Today in court, only charges of first-degree unlawful possession were presented. He is expected also to face charges of escape. Bail was set at $100,000. The Yakima Police Department has released its crime statistics for the month of October, and there are drop-offs in 3 major categories. The number of robberies dropped by more than 20 in October of this year compared to last. Burglaries also showed a sizable reduction, and car theft was down. The crime statistics are released each month by the Chief of Police of the Yakima Police Department. The topic of marijuana has been in the news a lot lately, especially as some of those in the medical field try to get it legalized for treatment for cancer. But what about baby boomers who may have used marijuana years ago and now are faced with telling their teenagers not to do it? First at 5's Greg Nieto spent some time with one such baby boomer and says she blows no smoke when talking to her kids about marijuana.
Janelle Mason is a baby boomer who for 22 years smoked marijuana. For the past 6 years, she has been clean of the drug, but not of the message she learned about its dangers. In between, she had 3 kids, 2 of which are young adults. As they got older, she wondered whether she should pass on her wisdom that they shouldn't try marijuana, but if she did, would they take her seriously?
I've had this argument with my children, and they were seeing where drugs led me to. They know that drugs can lead to jail. They can lead to not reaching our goals that we set out. And they argue that it is a herb, and it's not. And I tell them, yes, I've been there, and look where it led me to.
Mason says other baby boomers who may have used marijuana in the past, even as an experiment, shouldn't remain silent because silence, she says, is dangerous.
If you did it, you did it, and it's important to share the experience. You know, let them know where it can lead to and answer their questions truthfully. I think it's important to do that, and I don't think it's a hypocrite. You know, everybody did things in the past, and we want the best for our children, and the way to get the best is to educate them and be open with them.
She adds that kids like to see that their parents are human enough to know that they too may have made mistakes along the way, mistakes that hopefully won't be passed on to their kids' future. Greg Nieto, News 23, NBC.
Now, in a few minutes on NBC Nightly News, David Bloom will have an extended report on the problem faced by many baby boomers who used marijuana years ago as they deal with telling their own kids to not use it. Well, a winter storm watch is in effect for today and tonight. High winds, 50 miles an hour or more, could be developing along the coast. The chance of snow for our area tomorrow was pegged at 80% earlier today. That was then, this is now, and this is Tiffany's First Look at 5.
Yes, the winter storm watch is still in effect for tonight, and that means there is snow in the forecast for tonight, but it's not expected to reach until much later tonight. As for temperatures across the Yakima Valley today, up into the 30s for highs, but check out the lows, down to single digits in Ellensburg and Yakima. 8 degrees was the low last night. It took quite a while for it to warm up this morning, but fortunately we did see some sunshine today. But now let's take a look at today's weather school question. It has to do with a little bit about sunshine. More than 200 million horsepower of the sun's energy reaches the earth every, is it second, minute, or day? You can catch the answer to that weather school question and your complete forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Dave?
All right, thank you, Tiffany. Well, up periscope, fire one, and prepare to dive. All lines from old submarine movies, and all part of the excitement that lies ahead for a group of Eisenhower High School students.
You're watching News 23 NBC with Dave Ettl.
The city of Los Angeles claimed a record success rate in the city's bilingual education program. Further north, here at Yakima, how is the bilingual education program doing here? Well, first at 5, Shelly Crenshaw talked to a few elementary students today to find out if speaking in another language helps them.
To look at this classroom, it looks like any other, but if you listen closely, the teacher is speaking in Spanish to some of her first graders. It's a program that teaches students in a bilingual method. This is what a few students had to say about this program.
Because then you can talk to other people that you don't speak your language. You can kind of learn from the other kids how to speak Spanish and stuff.
Although this program is fairly new to Gilbert Elementary, one of the teachers is glad to see it here.
I think that if you come here, you should know the language, but the students, the children are the ones that are going to be suffering, so if we don't educate them and let them be in the working force and be bilingual, you know, we have more of a chance with the children.
An expert in speech pathology says bilingual is a way for children to become proud of themselves.
Well, I think it's been an excellent program for the students and the community in general, because the students are able to retain their primary language, and it offers them the opportunity to bring in a lot of their home cultures and share it within their classrooms, and also to expand, you know, the knowledge of other kids in their classrooms, and just to help us all be more accepting of one another.
Valdez says the program has been said to be too costly by some, but the children learn a great deal from their classmates, and it gives them a fighting chance for their future. In Yakima, Shelly, Crenshaw, News 23, NBC.
Well, the next time you're in heavy traffic, consider this. It's only going to get worse. Washington State's population is expected to increase by 400,000 people over the next 4 years. That's according to the annual estimate released today by the State Office of Financial Management. The agency says population now stands at about 5.6 million. Thanks to aggressive hiring at Boeing and other companies, it's now expected to reach 5.9 million by the year 2000. Under that projection, the state's population would have grown nearly 22% during the 90s. That'd be the highest growth rate for the state since the wartime 40s. Retailers nationwide reported robust sales this weekend as the holiday shopping season kicked off, and some of that merry buying is boosting apple sales. Product director Bob Williams, or make that produce director Bob Williams, who buys fruits and vegetables for 144 different stores in the Northeast, says both Thanksgiving and Christmas are good for fruit sales, particularly apple sales. The Thanksgiving area, apple sales jump up 20 to 25% above normal weekly sales averages, and at Christmas time, it's 15 to 20% higher. Wells and Wade sales agent Kent Wallister says Washington is commanding more shelf space now with more apple varieties. Varieties like Fuji, Gala, Braeburn, and Granny Smith have topped the sales charts this season, so he says they also will have to compete in the upcoming months with other types of holiday fruit, though, including imported grapes from Chile and citrus fruits from the U.S. and abroad. The opportunity for, for about 30 Eisenhower students to climb on board a submarine will take place tomorrow. Crimson Tide, this is not, but it is a submarine that Eisenhower seniors will get a chance to see and operate. They will get a chance to tour the sub, talk to the best and brightest in naval personnel, and they'll even get a chance to participate in one of the drills. Senior feels pretty proud to be selected to go on board the USS Ohio.
Is going to be lesson 0. Pick a massive...
Who really knows what it's like to be on a submarine? I mean, we've seen movies or heard about submarines, but who often goes on them? It's always ferries, boats. It's great that our class has the opportunity to finally go on something like this.
The students will be heading out tomorrow at 6 a.m. to Bangor, which is in Silverdale, for a day of learning the ins and outs of working a submarine. Well, plenty of sunshine today. Pleasant day, really, but is it...